Phylum Arthropoda is the largest phylum in the animal kingdom. So in this video, we're going to learn about the characteristics, classification, and the importance of this phylum. So we're going to learn the subclasses of different species that fall into this phylum. All right. So this phylum contains lots of organisms, and these arthropods are made up of over 80% of all known animal species on Earth. Okay, and they live in almost every habitat, including land, freshwater, ocean, desert, forest, and even the air. You know, we have insects that fly from one place to another. We have insects. We see air. We want to talk about birds. You know, birds have their own group. So we have insects that flies from one place to another, like bees, for example, that flies from one tree to another, or from one flower to another. Okay, so this phylum is a very large phylum that have different species. So just to go to bring out the examples of arthropods. So we have insects, you have spiders, you have your crabs, you have your lobsters, your shrimps, you have a centipede, and you have a millipede. So all these are good examples of arthropods. Okay, so what arthropoda means? The word arthropoda comes from two Greek words. You have your anthro, which means joint, and have a podos, which means foot or leg. So which means you have what? A jointed leg. So arthropoda means jointed legs. So it's a very important thing for you to know. So based on classification, the kingdom is Animalia, they are animals. So the phylum is Arthropoda, and the common name is called the arthropods, which cover the whole organism. So arthropods are found almost everywhere, and they live in forests. You can find them in the grasslands, you can find them in deserts, you can find them in the freshwater, oceans, you can find them in swamps. Okay, so these are the habitats you can find these various species of arthropods. So now we're going to go through the general characteristics of all arthropods. Don't forget that arthropods have subclasses. But in this video, I'm not going to make reference to give full details on each of these classes. So that will be a separate video, so we can get clear insights of what these classes are. So the first trait here is they're all multicellular organisms. So multicellular organisms are organisms that have many cells. They have many specialized cells, which comes together to perform a particular function. Okay, and they also exhibit bilateral symmetry. So if you're watching my videos, you will be able to come across this term. Bilateral means the body is divided into two equal halves. Okay, then so one important factor again we need to understand about them is they are triploblastic. So I've also use this term that's very important. All right, so it means our body is divided into three components. So we have your ectoderm, you have a mesoderm, I'll also have your endoderm. So it's very important to understand what these three body types all about. Okay, so very important because arthropods are segmented. They are not segmented animals, and the bodies are segmented, and these are actually grouped into regions called the tagmata. Okay, so these tagmata include the head, thorax, the abdomen, or the cephalothorax. So if you see here, we have your different segments. You have your cephalic head, you have your thorax, you have your the abdomen. All right. So we'll call this one a tagmata. Okay. You have the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. So the thorax just like for the head, we have the thorax. The thorax just like from the body parts, which contains the other part of the appendages, like the hands, just like you find different animals. Then you now have the abdomens that has to do with all the hind limbs, like the other animals, like the hind limbs. Okay, so these are the three compartments which brings about or the body segments of this arthropod. Okay, so it possess jointed appendages. So appendages is just like structures that help them to move from one place to another. So these are the appendages. It's actually jointed. It's a joint, all different joints here. So all jointed. Okay. So the importance of these appendages is that it helps them to walk, to swim, to fly from one place to another, to dig, and to capture the prey. So this is just an important factor of what this appendages does. All right. So they possess a hard exoskeleton. So how different skeleton you have your endo, exo, you have the hydrostatic. So this exoskeleton help for protection. So the major thing is that it contains what we call chitin. So chitin is a substance that help to protect the inner layer of most organisms, and this makes them to prevent what we call desiccation, and it plays a major role when it comes to protection of the inner organs, the internal organs of most organisms. Okay, so arthropod they have what we call chitin, and the function is they help for protection, they help for support, prevention of water loss. So chitin prevent excess water from escaping from the organisms, and they also help for muscle attachment for this species. Okay, so they undergo what they call molting on ecdysis. So ecdysis is all about this species. They remove the old skin from the body. They shed the old skin from the body so they can actually what grow and become more older. All right. So the older outer skin is being what removed. Okay, you can see it here. They remove the other skin so that they can develop what a new one, which help them to grow properly. So we call this molting or ecdysis. Okay, so what they do is arthropods shed it periodically to allow what growth. All right, so they possess an open circulation system, and in this, blood flow through cavities instead of closed blood vessels. So because it flows through different cavities, okay, unlike the closed circulatory, whereby only the blood passes through the blood vessels. In this case, they have what we call open circulation. So the blood doesn't actually pass through the blood vessels. Instead, they flow through what body cavities all around the body. That's why it is called what an open circulatory system. So respiration varies among different groups. So different groups have different respiration pattern. So one thing that's very important. This is a pure theory question. They can tell you, okay, arthropod and what are types of the reproduction, or what they use for respiration. Sorry, not reproduction. What they use for respiration. So for example, insects they use a trachea. Then you book lungs for spider. You have your gills for crabs. You have a book lungs for horseshoe or crabs. Okay, so it's very important to get this information. It's a very key point to understand which type of respiratory organs this different class used for respiration. Okay, so for excretion, it's very important for you to know this. It's very important. It comes in multiple choice questions. So they have different excretory organs. So insects is mammalian tubules, crustaceans is green glands, or have the causal glands with some arachnids. Okay, so it's very important. And the nervous system, they have the brain, they have your brain. Go back again. So they have the brain, they have the ventral nerve cord, and have the sex organs such as eyes, you have the antennae. For example, cockroach, they have that long thing that come out called this antennae. It's very good for they use for sensitivity and able to make them to be conscious of the environment. And they also have sensory hairs, which help for stimuli. Okay. So in terms of reproduction, so most arthropods have separate sexes. So this means you have your male arthropod, you have a female arthropod, and they also lay eggs. So because they have separate sexes, it means they reproduce what sexually. Okay. So major class of arthropods, so it's very important. We're going to have different videos on this major class of arthropods. So the first class, we have your insecta. Okay, you have your class insecta, and we have different insects like your grasshopper, your cockroach, your butterfly, housefly, mosquitoes. You have your bees. So these are all insecta. So you have your class arachnida. So a good example is spider, scorpion, your tick, you have your mites. Okay. Then you have your crustacea, you have your crab, you have a lobster, you have your shrimps, you have a crayfish. Okay. And the next one, you have a chilopoda, which is a centipede. All right. Then you have a diplopoda, which is a millipede. Okay, so these are the class of arthropoda. So it's very important to just get a clear understanding. That's why I just make a table for the adaptation of this species and the function. So they have hard exoskeletons for protection and support. They have a jointed leg for efficient movement. They have a compound eyes for wide field of vision. They can see wide, and they have wings for flight like an insect. They have antennae to detect touch, smell, and vibrations, and how more things we help them to grow. So they remove the old skin and develop a new one that help them to grow. So economic importance of this species. So most of them help in pollination. They serve as food. For example, crab shrimps, we eat them for food. Honey's production by bees. You have a silk production. You have a biological pest control. So some of these species help to kill some pests which are harmful to agriculture. So they help to control pests, and we call this biological control. And they also help in decomposition of dead organic matter. All right. So the harmful effects here, you have the destroy crops. They destroy crops, and sometimes they spread disease like a mosquito that causes malaria. You have a housefly that take germs to your food and you it causes what? It can cause a dysentery, it can cause a lot of things. Ticks. Ticks tend to what are very parasitic. When you find them in your bed, they suck from your blood. Okay. So the damaged stored grains like weevils, yeah, also cause bites and stings like scorpion and spiders. Okay. So these are those negative impacts of this species. So we'll go through some questions here, some exam style question. So the largest phylum in the animal kingdom is what? Is arthropods. So very important. It's not mollusca. It's not chordata. It's not annelida. All right. Then the next one, the exoskeleton of arthropod is mainly made up of chitin. Okay, which help them to reduce the excessive water, air for protection, and other function it possess. The arthropod grows by molting when they shed out their old skin to develop a new one, which help them to grow properly. Okay, and which of the following is not a class of arthropod? So insecta is a class, crustacea is a class, arachne is a class, but mammalia is not a class. All right. So thank you for watching this video to this point. All right. So this is just an overview of the arachnids. All right. So my next video we're going to discuss about class insecta. All right, class insecta, so we can get more insights of each of these various classes, because this is a large kingdom. I cannot large phylum of the kingdom, so I cannot just use one video to explain everything. All right, so to make the video less lengthy and make it at least a little bit or more understanding, and so we can get a clear picture of what it's all about. All right, so if you watch the video to this point, thank you very much, and please keep watching my videos, subscribe, and invite your classmates, your friends, your colleagues to subscribe to my channel, because I drop quality content on biology every week that's going to help students that's actually struggling on topics related to biology. All right. So see you next time, and thank you very, very much. Bye.